Okay guys, in this video we'll be checking out the Hawkeye Firefly 8S action camera. It's a 4K 30 frames per second and it has a super view available on it, or super vision, or whatever the super wide angle is on these action cameras these days. And let's see some of the features here. We got the Umbrella A12S75 signal processor and the IMX117 image sensor, so it's the same as the one on the SJ7 Star and the Fox Zero box. So it should have all the same video resolutions, 4K 30, all the way down to 720p 240. And let's see here, 1200 milliamp hour battery, up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card. So they sent the camera, and they also sent a remote control and an external mic. So we can attach that via mini USB. So get everything out of here. This is the microphone. I'm sorry, this is the remote controls for starting and stopping your video. I think it's Bluetooth. Okay, we got the camera in the waterproof case like they usually come. Set that aside for now. And it looks like we got all of our accessories in here along with the manual. And we got a QR code for the app if you want to control the camera via their Android or iOS app via Wi-Fi. Okay, we got some straps, Velcro straps for probably securing the camera down. We have, I don't know what this is. Some kind of a lanyard, I think. It's got a little button on here. Quick release, maybe? Yeah, it's a quick release lanyard. I haven't seen anything like this before. This is new. And we got some sliding mounts here with some sticky foam. And this looks like a belt clip mount. And we got your standard GoPro type mounts here. Got a bunch of these. Bicycle handle mount. Another mount. And we got here, looks like a mini USB cable. More mounts. Got lots and lots of mounting accessories. And we have a little lens hood here. This is for glare, so you stick that on the around the lens to prevent some glare in certain situations. That's the kind of nice thing to have. It's like this is a tripod mount. And this is one of these little latching frames that latches onto the camera and can then attach to a tripod here. Okay, I got the waterproof case. It's a standard waterproof case. I think depth to 30 meters, I believe, is the maximum depth. Pretty standard. And here's the camera itself, and this is the lens hood. It would just snap on here. It has some little notches here, and there's some notches in here, so I think we just align those up. Okay, so yeah, it's only a certain way that it'll go on, and that's with the little hood on the top and the bottom like that. So it just slides on and off like that. Probably doesn't stay on. Yeah, it doesn't stay on that secure. So you probably want to keep an eye on this so you don't lose it. This could be a handy little accessory. And this is the remote. Looks like you got a little bit of a space in the back here for maybe some sort of a Velcro strap. Yeah, you could probably hook this onto a pole or selfie stick, and you got buttons here for starting and stopping your video. And little lights up there, so there's probably a little battery inside there. And this is your little lavalier mic. Clip this onto your shirt, and then you plug this into the side of the camera right there, where it's USB. That's why it has a mini USB, because apparently you need a bigger USB plug for these little external microphones. And so getting right into the camera, you got a little mini USB port there, and you've got it says HD. I think it's a micro HDMI port. And I think this is where that cable goes for the lanyard, perhaps, so you can hang it off your neck. I think these are maybe some microphone holes. And you got a tripod mount on the bottom. So not a lot of these have tripod mounts. That's good. Got a 2-inch screen. I don't know if it's touchscreen or not. It might be. I'm not 100% sure. And in the front here, you got a little mirror, selfie mirror here. I'm not sure if that's all that useful. on-off button and mode switch button, and you got your little menu selector buttons here, and this is your shutter button on top, and a little playback button there, and your micro SD card slot there. And let's see what kind of a battery we've got here. So it looks like it's got batteries that have a little bevel on there, but I don't think the actual battery slot isn't beveled, so you might be able to use some SG cam type batteries that are more, standard and more accessible or available. This is a 1S 3.85 volt 1200 milliamp hour lithium ion pack, so it should last at least an hour of recording in 4K, I assume. Go ahead and power it on. Let's see if we have any battery charge on this. And yeah, we do have a little bit of battery charge, so we should be good to go. Don't have a micro SD card in there, but should be able to look at some of the modes and settings here. So we got like right now it's defaulted to 1080p and a 16:9 aspect ratio. It's recording in 60 frames per second. Got a little microphone indicator there, your battery indicator. Probably this is the field of view, so it's a wide field of view. I don't know what that icon is. Oh, the screen turned off. Nope. It looks like the screen times out pretty quickly, so let's just go into the menu. So this switches modes, and we should go to the photo mode, and then this is probably video mode. Let's see, how do we get into the settings here? So it's this button here to get into the settings, and this is not a touch screen, just checking. So we'll go into here for settings, and this is pretty normal, or pretty typical for these action cameras. You got resolutions, video quality, field of view, auto low light, gyro. This does have a gyro in there for electronic image stabilization, motion detect, dual files, video stamp. Let's see, anything, time-lapse video, loop record, microphone volume, sharpness. You can adjust your sharpness. See, you can adjust your sharpness. So normal, soft, strong. That's not unusual. Automatic white balance. Usually automatic is what you want. You got your exposure value here. Okay, so nothing unusual. Metering is probably centered, multi-spot. That's all normal. Yeah, see, got back to video resolution. So we're defaulted to 1080p 60 at 16:9. Let's see, what does it go all the way up to? So it pretty much has everything here. So we got 4K 30, 16:9, and you got 4K 25 with Super View. This is just like the box. And that's surprising, it's got the same DSP and the same sensor, so that's all pretty normal. And then the bottom one is 720 30 Super View. I'm going to leave it on 4K 30. I'm just going to record all my samples at 4K 30. That's the best resolution. We'll select that. So video quality, this one, I think, yeah, we'll leave it on Superfine. You could change the quality. I think that's adjust the bit rate of the video. You probably want the maximum here, as long as your SD card can handle it. Field of view, you can leave it on wide. If you are using a different situation where you want a more cropped in look, you can go to narrow, but usually wide is going to be for optimal for most situations. Auto low light, it's off. Usually that's when you want that. It will reduce the frame rate of the video when you're in a low light situation, so that it'll actually let more light into the sensor, so you get less grainy video. Usually you'll turn that on if you're in, nighttime or low light situations. So I usually leave that off for daytime filming. Okay, so gyro sensor, when you select that, nothing happens. Okay, so I'm not sure, I guess that's on all the time. And then motion detect, I never use that, I'm going to leave that off. Okay, so this is all pretty normal stuff here. Video stamp, I'll leave that off. I know what the timestamp on there. Time-lapse video usually takes a exposure once every 2 seconds for your time-lapse videos, and you can adjust that up to 30 seconds for something longer. I'll leave that on default. Okay, so let's exit out of the mode here. Okay, so other than one of the main settings menu that we just looked at, you can go into these other modes here. You can go to video mode, time-lapse mode, playback mode. There's also car mode, which is, I think, basically using this as a dash cam, so when You turn on your ignition, it will start recording right away. You got slow motion. I think that's all that we have here. So I think slow motion will basically, instead of you slowing down the video in post-processing, it'll do it in the camera so that when you take a shot of something, it'll slow it down. Okay, so to get to the next set of menu items here, you have to press this button here, which is a little not that obvious. Now you're on the second menu, and then we should be able to go through these. Quick capture is, I think, it will take a start video as soon as you power on the camera or take a photo, and I'm just going to leave that off. Delay, I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to leave that off. TV mode, and I'm going to leave that NTSC. Light frequency, I'm going to actually set that to 60 here in the US, and you have an OSD. I'm going to leave that on. That's all those little settings on the screen. If you find that distracting, you can turn that off. I'll leave that on. Here you can change your LCD brightness, and since I'm outside filming, I'll probably want that to be on the maximum brightness. Auto shutdowns in 2 minutes, it's fine. And then screen off, I think, yes, 30 seconds. I'm going to increase that to 1 minute. Status LED. Yeah, there's all these different LEDs all over the camera that when you're filming, they'll be blinking. If you don't like any of those, you can turn them off here. I'm just going to leave them all on. This is where you can change the beep sound. I'm going to leave that on. And here we can change our time setting. Go ahead and set that. Alright, date format, I'll leave that alone. Language, obviously I'll leave that on in English. You can change that here. Okay, so this is the Bluetooth pairing, which we need to set up to enable the remote. So I'll go in here, and it'll start pairing, and we just need to turn the remote on. And it should pair. You just turn it on. I see a little status symbol going there. There we go. So it says Bluetooth pair succeeded. So now we should be able to control this camera with the remote. Let's get out of here. Here we can change our Wi-Fi settings. I'll show you how to turn that on in a second here. So it's currently off. We can turn on here in the menu, but there's a shortcut by just long pressing this button here. When you're not in the menu, it will turn on the Wi-Fi, and then a little symbol show up on the screen. So we'll exit out of here. You can change your Wi-Fi SSD here if you don't like that. Okay, next, Wi-Fi password. I think, yeah, it says 1234567 and we can change that here, but I'm going to leave that alone. That's fine. Here we can format the micro SD card, and now I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see, I don't know. Is it red for, I guess, I don't know which one's selected. Red check mark? Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. Processing, format successful. Okay. And then you can change it back to default settings here. And then it shows here what the firmware version is. It's Firefly 8S 1.0.42, and I'm not sure if that's the latest or not, but I think to update the firmware, you just copy the firmware file to the micro SD card on the root of the drive, and then you just turn the camera on and it should go through a firmware update process. It's pretty easy on all these cameras. Alright, and I think, yeah, that's it for this menu, so we'll go ahead and get out of here. And then, as I mentioned before, hold this button down to turn the Wi-Fi on, and then you get the little Wi-Fi symbol, and then when it's actually on and ready to connect to, it turns green, and then we just hold that and I'll turn that off. You want to turn that off to save battery power, and let's see if the remote works. There you go. So you can see that I started the video recording there by pressing the big button, and I think this button switches from photo to video mode. Yeah, so now we're in photo mode, and then we can take a photo. And it makes a little sound, so we just took a photo there. And then we can switch back to video mode and start and stop our video with that big button there. Yeah, so this is going to be pretty handy if you say you have this on a tripod and you don't want it to be shaking, then you can use this remote very, very handy. Okay, so I'll show you how to connect to the camera through an Android app. It should work very similarly with your with an iOS device. Going to turn on the Wi-Fi first. See the Wi-Fi symbol there. I'm going to go to the Android store and download the Hawkeye Firefly app. And then we're going to go into the Wi-Fi settings here and look for Firefly. And then connected, the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're connected. And we'll go back over here and we'll open up the app. And you see we have a green connection here. And we want to allow access and then hit connect here. Let's see, is that working? There we go. Okay, so now we can turn this into portrait mode. Okay, so now you can see that we have a preview of the video coming from the camera over Wi-Fi, but you can see there's a lot of lag, so I'll shake the camera like that. And then there's almost like a 1 second lag there. So it's just a preview window. Here you have all your settings, you get your gyro, you can turn on and off. Let's see here, EV compensation. It's all the same settings that are in the menu on the camera itself, but you can do it within the app. Oh, that actually takes me out of the app. Okay, so then you got ISO, automatic white balance, metering, sharpness, field of view, etc. You can change your mode here, or your video resolution, 4K, and you got all the same ones available to you. I'm going to get out of there. Burst, you got burst photos, video, time-lapse video, slow motion, all the same features. You got a gallery here. You can start and stop your video here. That is very loud. And I'm recording, and stop that recording. And they get little beeps from the camera as well. And I think that button then takes you to portrait mode, so you can get a larger, if you're using a tablet like this, you can get a larger image preview of whatever you're taking, because sometimes what you see on the little screen here is, not that detailed, and if you want to make sure that things are, framed correctly or whatever and focus, then you could use something like a tablet like this, and you can see that very, very sharp image coming through. Okay, so at this point I'll go ahead and I'll roll a sample video that I took with this camera. I'll let you guys see what this thing can do in various lighting conditions.